Boys, as of now, there is 100% some UFC fighters currently on some kind of PEDs in the UFC that haven't been caught yet. I did a whole tier list of a bunch of UFC fighters who I think are currently on that secret juice. And that video, plus some pretty terrible fight announcements, got me thinking, there are some fighters in the UFC that I want to see take some secret juice, hop on some PEDs, and come back to their former glory. I have 5 different fighters that I have listed out that are currently fighting, currently scheduled to fight. They're still active in the UFC that I want to see hop on some secret juice and just take over yet again, go on another run. Let me know if you guys want to see a part 2. Leave some fighters in the comments below that you guys want to see hop on that secret juice. And with that being said, let's start off with number 1. These aren't in any specific order, but right now we have Tony El Cucuy Ferguson, and I think we can all unanimously agree we want to see the old Tony Ferguson come back. We want to see the Tony Ferguson that was on that crazy 12 fight winning streak, and this man's not getting any younger. He's 40 years old. The perfect time, in my opinion, to implement some PEDs into his routine. But right now, his record, 25-10, was a whole lot better of a record before he started his current losing streak. But right now, scheduled to fight Michael Chiesa on August 3rd. And this is one of the fighters that I've been thinking for a long time, like, damn, Tony, if you're gonna keep fighting after every single loss, please just hop on some PEDs. But at the start of his career, he was looking amazing. He went 7-0 in the beginning of his career, lost a fight, then went on another winning streak, only 3 fights this time, but lost again. After that, went on a bigger winning streak of 6, then lost that decision win to Michael Johnson. But after that loss, that's when the legendary run happened, the 12 fight winning streak against some crazy notable names like Mike Rowe, Glenn Santiba, Edson Barbosa, RDA, Kevin Lee, Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. Then it all came crashing down against his fight against Justin Gaethje. The fight that, quite honestly, just completely changed Tony Ferguson as a fighter. And it's so sad, too, because if you guys remember, in that first round, he dropped Gaethje bad with that uppercut. But after that, went downhill like crazy. He is currently on that 7-fight losing streak with Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, that first man to put out Tony Ferguson bad. Nate Diaz submitted him. Bobby Green, I believe, also submitted him. Oh, it's so painful remembering these fights. Paddy Pimblett, his latest fight. It's honestly so sad to try to remember these fights. But I want another legendary run from Tony Ferguson. If there's anyone that can do it, it would be the crazy man himself, Tony Ferguson. And Tony, if you're listening to this, fuck it. Honestly, fuck it. You already fucked up your legacy with this 7-fight losing streak. And honestly, I think the whole MMA community would respect you even more if you took some sort of PEDs. But that's just my opinion. I want to see this man on the sauce. I want to see Tony Ferguson bounce back. But to be honest, if I can have it anyway, I'm hoping that he gets that dub over Michael Chiesa and calls it a career there, because no amount of PEDs can help fix all that brain damage. But that being said, move over to another fighter, another one I think we can all pretty much all unanimously agree on. That's going to be our boy Nick Diaz, also 40 years old. Very similar career, very similar record to Tony Ferguson, 26-10. Also fighting on the same date, August 3rd, this time against Vicente Luque. This is one of the main fights that really made me want to make this list, because they're doing Nick Diaz dirty. Let's be realistic. I already went over this in one of my previous videos, but with that being said, again, very similar to Tony's career. He went 4-0 in the start of his career, lost a fight, won a fight, then lost again, but that fight was a robbery decision. After that, went 6-1, again got robbed in one of his fights, then 3 back-to-back fight losses. But after that, we go on a legendary 16-fight winning streak. I know you guys are probably thinking, 16 in a row, that doesn't seem right. One of them he popped for having marijuana. I'm keeping that as a win and I'm not overturning it. Then you're thinking, no, he lost somewhere between there. He lost against KJ Noons, and it was a doctor stoppage. It was a terrible doctor stoppage in my opinion, so no, not including that one either. And I want Nick Diaz to come back. I want his head to be double the size. I want his body to look like Yoel Romero. I want him to have a gas tank like a stallion. I just want Nick Diaz to pretty much come into the prime of his life. at 40 years old. And the fact that you're giving a 40-year-old Nick Diaz, who hasn't fought in the octagon since September 2021. Previous to that, he hasn't won a fight since October 2011. I don't think people really grasp how crazy inactive he's been recently, but with that being said, give this man some PEDs. It should be mandatory to have this man on some sort of PEDs right now. And I'm here fighting for Nick Diaz's right to take some PEDs at the ripe age of 40 against Vicente Luque. And to be honest, if he's coming into this fight like he did against Robbie Lawler, I think it should be mandatory for someone on his team to, sit him down and either taint some of his supplements or, while he's asleep, inject him with some shit. But at the end of the day, Nick Diaz, he better come into shape for this fight against Vicente Luque. Hopefully he's taking this seriously. And to be honest, any fighter going into like 40 years plus should be on some stuff in my opinion. But let's keep moving down. Dominic Reyes. Now, you're probably thinking, Dominic Reyes, this man isn't super old or anything. I don't think he deserves the amount of respect that someone like a Nick Diaz or Tony Ferguson does from like a career standpoint. And you're right. He's 34 years old. He's pretty much just getting into his prime. 12-4. He's also fighting this Saturday against Dustin Jacoby. And he was 12-0 going into his title fight against John Jones, a known PED abuser. Ever since then, we already know it's been like a fairy tale tragic downfall of Dominic Reyes. Every fight after that John Jones fight, he's been put out badly. And as much as I want to see him on some sort of like sauce and PEDs, at the same time, I was never really the biggest fan of Dominic Reyes, just personality-wise. But fight style-wise, he's one of the more exciting, fun fighters in the UFC, especially in that light heavyweight division. But regardless if he wins or loses against Dustin Jacoby this Saturday, I think we need to see some Dominic Reyes on the sauce moving forward. He really needs to heal that glass chin, so I'm hoping we see, at the bare minimum, some HGH to get his face to grow double in size. If you guys don't know what HGH is, it's human growth hormone. That's what Joe Rogan is on. That's why you can see his freaking head just exploded ever since taking that. I'm hoping that helps him take a hit better, because him getting knocked out by a jab is a terrible look, especially in that light heavyweight division. When it comes to something like taking like an EPO or something for cardio, I don't think it's, necessary, because it's been 4 years since we saw him in a 5-round fight, which he did do. He did look good in that 5-rounder against John Jones, but literally every other fight since then hasn't made it out the second round. So I don't know if he needs to take anything for cardio wise. Hopefully his cardio is still good, but if he takes something, I don't think he needs to go to all 5 rounds. And to be honest, most likely than not, we're going to see Dominic Reyes knocked out yet again in the first round this Saturday. And if the UFC doesn't cut this man, I demand this man to take some sort of sauce. Because like I said, although I'm not the biggest fan of Dominic Reyes, I still do enjoy his fight style and his just fights in general. Let's keep moving on though. This one might be a little bit of a surprise for you guys, but Brandon Moreno. I want to see Brandon Moreno hop on the sauce. 30 years old. He's getting a little bit old for that flyweight division, Pretty much the smaller weight classes, the younger you are, that benefits you a huge amount. He's right now 21-8. He's had probably the best, if not one of the best, comeback careers in the UFC. Getting cut from the UFC, coming back, being a champion, all of this. I think it's time for him to move up in weight, though. Bantamweight division, I want to see him put some crazy size on him. At first, I was like, maybe we keep him at flyweight, but we just fill him with PEDs to get him to that next level. But I think that will just end up getting him slower than everyone else. So bumping him up a weight class, I think, is the best option. And to be honest, the only reason I have him here is because, am I the only one that wants to see a complete 180 reverse in Brandon Moreno's character? I'm not gonna lie. I want to see some evil PED abusing Brandon Moreno. Not only do I think that would be hilarious, him on the sauce, but I truly think he would become one of the best fighters on the roster. Just imagine all the back and forth wars he's had in that flyweight division against Figueiredo, the current champion right now, his last fight against Royval. just imagine if he was on some sort of sauce that, he got some next level KO power out of nowhere. Imagine the amount of damage that man could do. And yeah, for that reason, that's why I want to see my boy Brandon Moreno hop on the sauce. Let's keep moving down. The youngest fighter on this list by a landslide, a fighter that's pretty much just getting into their prime, that's going to be Edmen Shahbazyan, 26 years old, by far, like I said, the youngest guy on this list. Doesn't have the worst record in the world, 13-4, but I kind of want the old Edmen back. The Edmen that was running through everyone, was on a 12-fight winning streak, and 11 of those 12 fights ended in the first round, just running through everybody. Now, was it against the highest level competition? No. But to be honest, unless this man hops on some sort of gear, I don't think we ever see that kind of like first round stoppage after first round stoppage type of performance again from Edmen. But to be honest, his losses are against some pretty good competition. I'm not gonna lie, it's not like he lost against bums. He lost against Derek Brunson, Jack Hermanson, Nasruddin Imavov, then a very high up prospect, Anthony Hernandez. So, I might be pushing this one too much, but, I really like this man's fight style. I want to see him do great things, and I think in order for him to do those great things, he needs to be on some PEDs. I want this man to have some crazy next level transformation and a next level run. Because of all that, give me Edmen Shahbazyan, one of the funner fighters in that division. I want him hopping on anything and everything he can. And then, to be honest, I think the UFC is a funner place if we give these 5 fighters the unlimited resources of taking whatever PEDs they want. But let me know in the comments below, which fighters do you guys want to see take some secret juice? These are my fighters right now. Again, let me know if you guys want a part 2, because I got some names on here where I can do a part 2, 3, and 4 if you guys really want it. But right now, this is my top 5. And yeah, we're on that goal to get to 500 subscribers. Every single day we get new subscribers, so thank you guys for subscribing with those post notifications on. It means a lot to me. We're almost there to 500 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for all the support. With all that being said, there's really not that much else left to say, except for I will see you guys in my next video.